Silent threat rabies kills Tamil Nadu youth after 2 years. This story is a tragic reminder of how deadly rabies can be even years after a dog bite. An 18-year-old youth from Tamil Nadu died of rabies nearly 2 years after being bitten by a stray dog. An 18-year-old youth from Arakkonam in Ranipet district died of rabies, and this is after 2 years. Can you imagine? And it is so dangerous. The victim, Diva, was admitted to Rajiv Gandhi Government General Hospital in Chennai, where he died early on Sunday. Now, Diva was apparently brought to the hospital because he presented himself with fever and also was completely disoriented. Then the doctors found out that he had been bitten by a dog 2 years ago. So, this is what is very, very scary. And maybe he has a brain fever and also rabies related infection in his brain. He was of course referred to Thiruvallur Government Hospital, where rabies was confirmed, and he was later shifted to Chennai. Now, health officials are saying a lot of things. You know, what is very scary is, and also very something which has not been confirmed, is that whether he was vaccinated for the bite, this man, Diva, on the screen, or even if he was injected, did he take the entire course or not? Now, the thing is that this is very dangerous. We do not want to actually create any kind of a panic, but we will try and find out the solutions for what could be done in such a case. Dr. K. Kolanthasamy is joining us. He is Director of Public Health and Preventive Medicine, very, very well known doctor. Dr. Subramanian Swaminathan, Director, Infectious Diseases, Glen Eagles Hospital, Chennai. Thank you very much, both doctors, for joining us. What a tragic story this is, you know. Do we have Dr. Kolanthasamy with us? I can see Dr. Subramanian with me. Dr. Subramanian, tell me something that, you know, this is so scary. 2 years after he was bitten by a stray. Now, there are no verified reports, as it were. I mean, the doctor said that we asked him when he had fever, he was running fever for 2 days. This disorientation was something which actually, raised the ante, and they said, my God, it could be that. And they were told that he was bitten by a dog 2 years ago. So, the question mark is, did he go for vaccination? Because if you ask me, everywhere, everyone knows, once the dog bites you, you have to go get a shot. This is not something which is, it is not herpes, where you would not know what the hell is happening with me. It's not an urban disease that way. The other is that even if he did get vaccinated, doctor, that, you know, did he finish the entire course? What do you think, 2 years later? I mean, it scares me like anything.
So, if you look at the natural history, the incubation period is between 2 to 3 months. Of course, it can be very short or it could be very long. It depends on where the bite is and how severe the bite is. Let us say it's an older adult, somebody as tall as me, 6'2", and it's a small scratch on the leg. It may take 6 months even for it to reach the brain, and therefore the incubation period may be quite long. And in fact, this is what happened in the US this year, where an Idaho man died after a skunk scratch, and his organs were then transplanted to quite a few people, and all of them died of rabies as well, which was absolutely tragic. But having said that, it can be the other way. Meaning, if it's a very bad bite to the face, especially for a child, it is a very short distance to get to the brain. Therefore, the incubation period can be ultra short. Having said that, 2 years sounds a little unusual, to say the least. One of the reasons why children are very high risk for rabies is, I mean, there are two reasons. One is obviously because they are more vulnerable to dog attacks because of their size and they tend to play with dogs. And the second thing is children often do not report dog-related injuries for fear of being, punished at home.
18.
And
He was
therefore,
18 when he was bitten, not a child.
again, the point is keep in mind that the family may be asking, you were bitten 2 years ago, what were you doing with the dog again? So he may not be very happy about going and telling them I was playing with a dog again and got scratched by it. I'm just putting forward a possibility. I'm not saying this is what happened. I'm saying we'll have to consider that maybe it was a separate injury from from the bite 2 years ago. And it's unfortunate because if he had been fully vaccinated 2 years ago after the bite at that time, it really should not have happened this time around. Even if he had a new injury, it should not have happened because the full course of vaccination should be good enough to protect him even at this time with a repeat injury. So I think it's a combination of multiple factors here. We need to get more data. But having said that, rare things have happened. There are people who have had phenomenally long incubation periods. In certain animals, we know, especially in dogs, it can be very long incubation periods, which makes it very difficult for us to track this. But again, we'll have to think of common things first. So to me, the most common, most likely possibility is that he probably had another encounter, injury, or something like that, which may not have been reported. I'm not excluding the possibility it was from 2 years ago. I would say that is very unusual, but not impossible.
Also, what you said makes a lot of sense, but apparently this also depends on the viral load. How much was it there in his body? Now I'm saying it's scary, doc, because I could have gone for an entire kind of, see, we do not know, you're right, whether Jiva went for vaccination, no vaccination, or went for vaccination and just with one time he said, okay, let's just go ahead. I'm not going to go back again, which I think is very rare, because like I'm saying, I've seen a lot of cases, people who are not privileged like I am, also going to the doctor and saying, at least in Delhi, that injection to lagana padega bhai. They all go. It's like tetanus. Tetanus has also become very common now. They get scratched, they said, hum tetanus lagane ja rahe hain. So earlier it was not there. They will put some haldi and sit at home. Now they are very careful. So I'm saying, coming to the point is that whether he did not go, whether he went once and decided to, ditch the other injection. The point of the matter is, what is this viral load? Are you saying, doc, that even if I've taken a vaccination, I could have, whatever, I don't want to say it, I could turn fatal because the viral load was too much and the vaccination did nothing to me?
So please keep in mind, there is no vaccine which is 100% effective. We have vaccines which are phenomenally effective, like a polio vaccine is phenomenally effective. The measles vaccine is quite effective. But even that, with that, please understand there is no vaccine with a 100% efficacy rate. Hepatitis B for that matter, it is more than 99%. But I know people who had rounds upon rounds of vaccination and have still not developed protective antibodies. It's rare, but not impossible. With rabies vaccine, the vaccine is a very, very good vaccine as long as the cold chain is properly used. It is given in the deltoid, not in the gluteus, not in the back. And, it is given at the right times and people follow through with the uh, immunization schedule. You're right. Most people are very clear about it. There is so much more awareness today. People do take it and things like that. But that is not to take away from the fact that sometimes errors do happen. I've had patients who tell me I took it on my gluteus, which is definitely not a good idea because the immunogenicity is really, really poor. There are people who, in spite of vaccination, do not have very good antibody levels. And that is also something that happens fairly rarely, but not impossible. This is just, I think for him, we need to do, for this unfortunate young man, we need to do a lot of data gathering. We need to look at his rabies antibody levels. We need to get more data, possibly from not just him and his family, but from his friends and his colleagues in school or college or whatever he was in, to find out what is it that happened. I feel that there is probably a little more than meets the eye at this point of time.
Dr. K. Kolandaswamy has also joined us. Doctor, welcome to the show. Such a pity that you can only join us on the phone line. I would have loved to see you and speak to you, Doctor. Doctor, in this case of the Jiva, very unfortunate. He was 18 when he was bitten by a dog and he died 2 years later. And hails from Arakkonam, son of daily wage laborers, not very privileged or rich person, very fond of dogs. But death after 2 years, Dr. Kolandaswamy, I mean, that was, I was talking to Dr. Subramanian about it and he gave us a lot of reasons. What do you think would have happened, Dr. Kolandaswamy? Have you ever come across such a case in your long career, sir?
Good evening to all of you. Actually, the three things are very important in rabies prevention. So, number one is the first aid. So, immediately after an animal bite or a dog bite or cat bite, monkey bite, the wound, the site of the bite has to be thoroughly washed with alcohol-based or high detergent soaps repeatedly with the running water. That will eliminate most of the rabies virus. That is a very important first aid and the first step. And the second one is a complete vaccination. Complete vaccination means whether they go for intramuscular schedule, it is a 5-dose schedule. If they go for intradermal schedule, it is a 4-dose schedule. So they should, the affected person, the patient should complete the full course of the vaccination. Even if he or she fails to turn up, then the health facility has to call them and make sure that they are brought back to the facility and the vaccine is given. And the 3, for category, most often the category 2 bite, the category 3 bite is misclassified as category 2. So any bleeding injury, it is mandatory that anti-rabies immunoglobulin has to be administered. They are not sure whether this boy, this unfortunate the tragic incident, whether this boy had taken the first aid and he completed the course of the vaccination, or it was the bleeding injury, then whether he received the immunoglobulin or not. This is one aspect. And the other aspect, scientifically speaking, I think Sir has already, Dr. Subramaniam has already pointed it out. It is possible, it is very much possible. Normally, 10 days to 3 months, it is likely to manifest. On an average, it will be 1 month to 3 months. But in rare cases, the virus may be encapsulated in the healing process. So the virus might have been trapped in that scar. Then subsequently, the virus got activated and it may travel through the nerve and reaches the brain. That may be, it is documented cases are there. We have seen such cases in Tamil Nadu earlier.
Yeah, right. It's
also
very, very scary, Dr. Kolandaswamy. Dr. Subramaniam, what Dr. Kolandaswamy said, what does one do then if the virus is trapped in that wound, doc?
Those are rare phenomena, but they are known phenomena. Definitely have to agree. But please keep in mind, this is where the immune generation with the vaccination is probably your best shield. So if the person, so Dr. Kolandaswamy also pointed out the option of the intradermal vaccine. Many countries are now starting to move to the intradermal vaccine. 1, because it's a smaller dose. 2, because it's done with 4 doses. And 3, because the immunogenicity is much more powerful. The problem is not everybody is very familiar in how to give it correctly as far as an intradermal vaccine is concerned. Therefore, most people stick to the IM schedule because the chance of error is lower. Because instead of intradermal, if you give it subcute, you lose the vaccine. But an intradermal vaccine or an IM vaccine, if it is done properly, and if you develop protective antibody titers, which happens in probably 99% of people, that is your best shield against rabies, because anytime it reactivates, your antibodies last a very, very long time. And this is something that we routinely do for animal handlers, Blue Cross. We recommend it to Blue Cross people, veterinary industry people. They all get vaccinated and they get their antibodies checked. So we know from experience that it's a very effective vaccine. And even if there is an injury, you will have very good levels, and therefore it should prevent an infection. Outliers are possible, but it's unlikely if the person is seroconverted with the vaccine.